Greetings, people of God. Welcome once again to my channel. God bless, God honor you, God excel you. Thanks for being here once again. God lift you high. Amen. You are well appreciated and honored being here today. I'm so grateful and blessed seeing you and having you. You all are welcome in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Should the case is your first time of seeing me, this is me, Evangelist Victoria Ubiri. Welcome. God bless you all. Thanks. If you know you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do well to subscribe to my channel, and God will bless us all so we all can be growing together in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. Thanks for being here. What God is saying to us today, God is saying that the enemy that thought that they are wasting our life, they are doing everything to make sure we are destroyed. They are wasting theirs. God says they are wasting their life. They are wasting their time. Thinking that they are wasting our life, thinking that they are trying to destroy us. God says they are destroying themselves. God says that they are fighting against him. God says they are plotting against him. God says the enemy wants his people life to be wasted. He wants his people life to be horrible. He wants his people life not to be fulfilled. God says that the enemy is doing everything to make sure our life is demolished, our life is destroyed, our life is not fulfilled. The devil is doing everything to make sure we are not going forward. We are not moving ahead. We are stagnated. But God says we should not allow the enemy have the upper hand. God is saying that the enemy is trying to make sure we are destabilized. He's trying to make sure we are ruined. He's trying to make sure we did not rebuild. He's trying to make sure we are destroyed. He's trying to make sure that the work of God for us did not proceed. The plan of God for us did not succeed. The plan of God for us did not materialize. God says this enemy are wasting their time. God says they will shrink back. God says everything that they are doing will shrink back. God says they will shrink back. God is saying you should head up. You should go ahead. God says his people should go ahead. They should be motivated. They should be spiritually alert. Should be spiritually awakening. God says, stay calm and know that he's fighting your battle. He's going to fight. He's going to prevail for his people. God says he's fighting for us. God says he will prevail. God says, continuously to pray. God says, persist. God says, do not bow down. God says the enemy is doing everything to make sure you are discouraged. You are driven out of your destiny. You are driven out of your place of destiny. You are driven out of your right. God says, do not be scared of this enemy. The devil is trying to scare you. God says, do not be scared. God says, do not be scared. The enemy is rage. He's raging. He's made sure that his people do not fulfill destiny. God says his people should not be disappointed. You do not feel disappointed over what the enemy is doing, that they shrink back. God says that the enemy will shrink back. His people will not shrink back. God says they are trying to stop his people. They are trying to see that what we are doing is a rubbish. But God says they are plotting against him and not us. God says the enemy is plotting against him. God says not us. God says the enemy is plotting against him. God says he will rise up, he will defend himself. He will make sure that he defend his name for his people. God says he will defend himself. That's what God is saying today. God says the devil think is the devil think things cannot be possible. God says what the enemy think that is impossible, God says it's going to make it possible in the life of his people. God says he will collaborate. He will make sure he be the engineer of his people life. He will make sure he be their managing director. God says he's going to collaborate. He's going to be their managing director. He's going to engineer their life to make sure their life is succeed. God says is the life of his people are his project. God says he will make sure their life is established because their life is his assignment, and he will make sure their life is complete. Their life is well